This is the Construction Leading Edge podcast. My name is Todd DeWalt from ConstructionLeadingEdge.com, and this is the podcast for construction business owners and leaders. And today, I want to talk about a different way to think about projects, revenue, quality, safety, lots of other areas. And then I've got a message for you if you're a business owner or you're planning on starting a business and you are concerned about selling. If you're reluctant to sell, or you're afraid you're going to come off as salesy or pushy, I've got something I want to share with you. But first of all, let me tell you about a meeting I was in sometime in the last couple of years. I was sitting in a project trailer. This was a $20+ million office building project, and we were in the final stretch getting the project done. We were probably 3 or 4 weeks from substantial completion, and this was a daily foreman meeting. So all the foremen were coming in there, fire protection guy, painter, electrician, plumber, drywall guy. They were all in there talking about, the idea was they were coordinating on details and sharing their plan with the general contractor of how they were going to get this thing done. They were behind schedule, and it was going to be a press to get this project done. So I was just there as an observer to watch and see what was going on, to hear the plan of how they were going to get this thing done on time. And there was a young engineer standing at a whiteboard with a marker, and he kicked the meeting off, and he started going around the table and said, "All right, Ed, the fire protection guy, how many guys do you have here, and what are you working on?" And then he went to the next guy, the drywall guy. "How many guys do you have here? What are you working on?" He did this to 6 or 8 of the foremen and just kept asking, "How many guys do you have? What are you working on?" Just made notes. And so finally I interrupted and said, "Hey, what are we doing here? We're a couple of weeks behind schedule, and we've got a couple of weeks to get this thing done, and I'm not hearing anybody's plan for getting this done. I'm not hearing any milestones. I'm not hearing anything this was supposed to be a lean construction type operation, and I wasn't hearing any sort of commitments about what was getting done. All I was hearing was, here's how many guys we have, and here's what we're working on today." And what that is what I would call left to right thinking. And that's a problem. And I'll tell you, this project was pretty late. It was about a month late getting complete because of left to right thinking. Now, this left to right thinking not only affects project schedules, but it also affects quality. It affects your hiring process. It affects your personal productivity. It affects your personal income. And it affects, if you're a business owner, it affects your revenue. And one of the reasons that a lot of construction businesses are in cash flow trouble, and they're not meeting their goals, and they're not able to grow the company like they want to, and they just feel like they're not meeting their potential, is because of left to right thinking. So what's the better way to think? The better way is to think from right to left. Right to left thinking is better than left to right thinking. What am I talking about? Well, let's use the example of revenue. If you run a construction company or you work in a construction company, at some level, somebody's concerned about revenue. Revenue is one of the primary concerns. And I would say if you're a small business, it should be at the very top of your list of concerns. Because without revenue, without cash flow, nothing else really matters. Let's just put it that way. If you don't have cash flow, it doesn't matter how profitable your jobs are in your backlog, you're not going to get there. You're not going to survive to get there. So in the case of revenue, here's how a small construction company typically thinks about revenue. All right, we sell a job, and then we look at the resources we have, the equipment, the manpower, the tools, the subcontractors that we typically work with. We go out and we get started on the project, and we work as diligently as we can, and then we just do it the best we can. We know that there's a substantial completion date, some contractual obligation, and we just do the best we can. And then if we meet the date, great. If we don't meet the date, well, you know what? We tried the best we can. Well, some other problems with that type of thinking, and that's left to right thinking. Left being the starting point. Working left to right means let's just get started. We'll do the best we can. And when we get all the way to the right side of the schedule, if you think about a Gantt chart schedule, it goes from left to right. When we get to the right side, the right end of the project, it just is what it is, right? Here's one problem, or one reason people do that with their revenue, is that they're comfortable with their backlog. It gives them comfort knowing that they have jobs booked, and they feel like they're working themselves out of a job. And the faster you get a job done, the faster you have to go sell. And there's some weird comfort, even though it doesn't make financial sense, there's this comfort in having work in your backlog. And some people just say they don't even realize that there's another way. They just look at projects and say, well, we're just going to do the best we can. It's best efforts based, and then we'll just deal with the consequences, because we don't know what we can do, and there's just too many unknowns. Well, let me give you a better way. Let me show you what operating from right to left looks like with your revenue. First of all, you won't start with your projects. You'll start with your company. What do you need every month to come in the door to make things work? What is your revenue target that makes your cash flow situation work? Look at the sum of your payroll, your overhead, meaning insurance, rent, mortgage, etc., all of your indirect costs, and what you typically spend on materials and subcontractors. Come up with some target number that you need to keep the doors open so that you can stay out of what I call cash flow crunch mode. Let's say you need $100,000 a month. That's what your typical, if your typical cash flow needs are $100,000 a month, you can actually just look back at how much have you spent the last 3 to 6 months and have a pretty good idea. So let's say you've been spending about $100,000 a month, or whatever your number is. Let's turn that into a stretch goal. Let's add a little bit of cushion to it and add, let's say, 15%. So let's set our production goal, our revenue goal, at $115,000. That's what we want to hit every month, or at least the next month. Now let's work backwards from there and figure out how to achieve that goal. See, in this way of thinking, the what or the how much is set. You've set a target of how much revenue you need. And now you're going to focus on the how. And that's where you come in. The how comes down to leadership, planning, execution, scheduling. Those are the things that you can control. They're tangible. You can make sure you get the materials there. You can make sure you get the information. You can make sure you get the approvals you need. You can hire subcontractors. You can rent equipment. You can pull the levers to accomplish the how when you know what the end game looks like each month. And when you take this approach, this puts you in the driver's seat of your cash flow situation. So many people are in the back seat of their cash flow situation. They feel like their subcontractors, their customers, their employees, their whatever are affecting their cash flow. And if you're the business owner, you need to be driving your cash flow. You need to be scheduling for revenue, because you're spending that money, and it's your job to know how much money you need to bring in every month to maintain cash flow, and then it's your job to pull the levers and come up with the game plan to make that happen, figure out how to do that. And doing this puts you in the driver's seat for that. So then you have a new set of questions. You've established what your your revenue target is for the month. Now, instead of wondering, well, how much money are we going to bring in this month? Or how much are we going to have left over at the end of the month? Or how much am I going to be able to pay myself at the end of the month? You're asking questions like, what's it going to take to get there? What do I have to do to accomplish my goal? And if you have multiple crews or multiple projects, multiple superintendents, what you will do now that you have a monthly target is you will divide that target up into your crews or superintendents or projects, give them their target and tell them this is what you need to accomplish this month. This is what winning looks like. This is where we need to be. And if need be, you or your project manager, superintendent, etc., can break that monthly goal down into a weekly revenue goal. That's a little bit easier to swallow. And then if you want to, you can break that down into daily revenue goals. Depending on the type of work you do, it may not make sense to get super finite. Now, as part of this, what this will mean you'll need to do is you'll need to assign some dollars, some revenue values to the work you're putting in place. So if you're doing unit price work, that's pretty straightforward. You're doing X number of feet of pipe or cubic yards of gravel or square feet of concrete at a fixed rate. It's pretty easy to come up with that revenue target. If you're doing lump sum work, it's a little bit more complicated. Then you're looking at percentage of completion, maybe for your project, or achieving milestones, depending on what your draw schedule looks like or how you invoice. But somehow, it may just be as simple as saying, we need to bill 15% of this project this month. What do we have to do to justify 15% billing this month? But at least you have a target and you're working from right to left to get there. This revenue target, the monthly target, the weekly target, or the daily target becomes what Jocko Willink would call the commander's intent. And I've got a video about the commander's intent that you can find. I've got it out there somewhere. I'll post a link in the comments or in the show notes for this where you can find that video. But the commander's intent basically is what needs to be accomplished. It's the desired end state for the team. So if the plan falls apart, then the commander's intent is the desired end state. It makes it really clear we need to have X number of dollars per month, per week, whatever the case may be. You're making it really clear to your people that this is what winning looks like. Now, you can make adjustments as you need to, but you need to start somewhere. Then, the other benefit of right to left thinking is that you can start to prioritize your activities, whether it's strategic goals for the company or how you direct your workforce on what they need to focus on, because every task you look at, you'll run through the filter of, is this going to help us achieve the goal? Is this going to help us win? Is this driving revenue? And if the answer is no, then you probably don't need to do it. And it's also going to help your guys and gals in the field focus on driving revenue. Are we getting paid for this? Is this billable work? If it's not billable work, don't do it. If your people are spending 2 or 3 hours a day talking with the customer about potential changes or spending time picking up materials or doing stuff that's not revenue producing, that stuff gets cut out, because cutting out the non-revenue producing work becomes part of the how do we get to where we want to be. That's right to left thinking. So your job as the leader is you have to minimize opportunity cost. And I've talked a lot about opportunity cost in videos, maybe even on the podcast. But if you haven't heard my explanation of opportunity cost, here's what it is. You have to understand that your job as a contractor is your job is to turn days into dollars. You only have a certain number of days to produce revenue. And every day, your crew, your business, if you think of your business as a revenue generating machine, your business has a maximum output. Maybe it's $2,000 a day, maybe it's $200,000 a day. But your machine that consists of your equipment and your employees and your subcontractors and your whole machine has a maximum output. And any day that you produce less than that maximum output, you are incurring the opportunity cost, because opportunity cost is defined as the maximum value of something minus the actual value of something. So if you have a two-man crew and your maximum production is $2,000 a day, and that crew produces $1,000 of revenue one day because they spend half the day doing non-productive stuff, then you just got hit with $1,000 opportunity cost, and you can't get that day back. You can't create any more time. Time is a non-renewable resource. So your job, again, working right to left, using the right to left thinking, is you are establishing the goal. That's at the right end of the timeline. Where do we want to be at the end of the month to make things work? Then you're going to divide that goal up into weeks and into projects or crews, and then you're going to develop a plan of how you're going to get there. What manpower do you need? What equipment do you need? What information? What material needs to be ordered? That's where you come in. That's where your project managers and your superintendents come in. They start focusing on how are we going to achieve this goal. This right to left thinking also applies to a lot of other areas of business. It applies to your scheduling, obviously. Think about finishing projects and then working backwards and establishing key milestones that need to be met. It applies to quality. What does the finished level of quality need to look like? And then you work backwards and focus on how are you going to do that. Personal productivity. What do you need to get accomplished every day? Safety as well. What is the safety goal? And then you work backwards and figure out how you're going to get there, as well as your personal income. How much money do you want to make? Do you want to be in the driver's seat of all of these things, quality, schedule, safety, your personal income, or do you want to let the circumstances dictate these things? You want to be in the driver's seat. So if you're a business owner, I would encourage you to start thinking right to left. Now, if you're a business owner, I've got something else I want to share with you. A lot of people that I talk to they're concerned about selling. If you're listening to this podcast, it's a pretty good likelihood that you are concerned about taking care of your customers. You're concerned about your employees. You want to build a good culture for people to work. You want to do good work, and you want to take care of your customers. Well, if that's you, then you have absolutely no reason to be reluctant to selling or going out and talking about your business. And in fact, if you're reluctant to sell or you're reluctant to grow your business, then I would say you're being selfish. Now, what do I mean by that? That sounds a little counterintuitive. Some people would say that going out and selling and talking about my business and growing my business would be considered selfish. But I would say that if you are playing scared and you're reluctant to go sell and you're reluctant to grow your business or you're afraid that you're going to make a mistake, then you're being selfish. And here's why. There are customers out there who have problems that need to be solved. There are homeowners who need additions put on their house so that their grandmother can come live with them. There are people who need to renovate their house because their child is in a wheelchair. There are business owners who need to expand because their business is growing and they need more seats. They can't grow their business because they don't have enough space. There are property managers of apartment complexes who have storm damage and they've got to get their work done. And all of these people have problems that need to be solved. And they have dollars that they want to give to someone to solve their problems. And you owe it to the world. You owe it to all of those potential customers to get out in front of them and say, I will help you solve your problems. Because if they don't work with you or somebody like you, then they're going to get stuck working with some lousy contractor who doesn't do good quality, who doesn't care about the experience, who makes it difficult, and then maybe even tries to hit them with change orders at the end. So your future customers, your potential customers need you to grow your business. They need you to get out there and talk about your business, because otherwise they're going to have to work with someone else. And furthermore, your future employees need you to grow your business. They need you to go out and sell. There are people in your city who are working for terrible bosses in jobs that they hate. There are people who wish they could work in construction for a good company who would take care of them. They can't wait to get out of their situation. I've worked for horrible bosses like that. I know what it's like. And those people need you to grow the business so that you can hire them and come work for them, so that they can work inside your culture, so they can work in a company with an owner and leadership who actually care about their employees. So I'm telling you, if you are afraid to sell and you feel like you're being selfish by when you think about selling or growing your business, I'm telling you, you're being selfish if you're not growing your business. If you're not going out and talking to people and selling and getting in front of them and helping them solve their problems. Because if you're not doing it, it's because you're scared. It's because you're afraid of what might happen. And that is selfish. The only person you're thinking about is yourself. So I would encourage you, get out there. You'll be surprised when you get in front of people. They want you to solve problems for them. Employees want to come to work for you. People want you to succeed. Your community needs you to succeed because they want good employers. They want people who will give back to the community and not just take. So your future customers want you to succeed. They want you to grow. Your future employees want you to grow. And hey, your city wants you to grow your business. And if you want to grow your business, if you want to take your business to the next level, then I want to tell you about two things that I'm going to do in 2018 that will help you. Two of the best ways that I can do to help you, other than the podcast. If you enjoy listening to the podcast, but you want to go to the next level, you want a structure to follow, and you want a step-by-step process, so it's not, you're not in a position where you have to figure out how to put the pieces together, then there's a couple things I want to tell you about. One, I'm going to help a small group of business owners take their business to the next level in 2018. I've already got a small group in the Construction Business Accelerator. I've got a few other folks that I'm helping, but I'm going to put things into a different gear in 2018. I'm going to put together we're going to follow a step-by-step process and a guided program for 2018 that will help you take your business to the next level. Think of it as an intensive boot camp. I'm not sure how long it's going to take, but we're going to focus each week on one topic, maybe 2 weeks. We're going to put focused energy and effort on one topic at a time and then move on to the next topic. And those topics are going to include the biggies: cash flow, driving revenue, selling, personal productivity. How do you get more done personally? Crew productivity, recruiting and hiring. Because I'm telling you, when you put these systems in place, you're going to need people to help you get the work done. And that's going to involve delegation. You're going to learn how to delegate, how to deal with conflict, how to resolve conflict effectively, planning, how to build systems out. And then we're also going to deal with one of the biggest issues that hold entrepreneurs back, and those are the mindset issues. Those are the unconscious beliefs, the limiting beliefs, the fears, the things we're anxious about, the things that I think it's John Maxwell who talked about the law of the lid. They're the leadership abilities of the leader of a business that are the lid on an organization. If you want to grow your business, you have to understand that you are the lid. And the only way your business is going to grow is for you to expand your leadership abilities. So there's two ways that I'm going to help a small group of construction business owners take their business to the next level. So, and this applies to you if you're currently running a business or if you're planning on starting a business soon. This is for you as well. Two things. One, the Construction Business Accelerator program. Right now, it is it's available. It's open for enrollment. The price is going up soon. You can find out more about the Construction Business Accelerator program by going to www.constructionleadingedge.com/community. Now, that's one of the best things I can do for you if you're a construction business owner and you want to grow your business, you want to eliminate chaos, you want to solve your cash flow problems, you want to become a better boss, you want to learn how to sell better. That's one of the best things I can do for you. If you want to accelerate those results, then the best thing I can offer you there is something I've just rolled out recently, and that is my one-on-one coaching program. Now, I only have a few spots because I spend a lot of time with my coaching clients to provide those accelerated results. The one-on-one calls on a regular basis to strategize, prioritize, and then provide accountability. Every week we're talking and moving the ball further down the field, answering questions, talking about systems, and it accelerates that growth process. If you're interested in one-on-one coaching, then I would like to talk to you. If you want to find out more about that, the best thing we can do is get on the phone for a free 30-minute strategy call, and you can do that very easily. Go to constructionleadingedge.com/call, CALL, constructionleadingedge.com/call. I want to help a small group of construction business owners take their business to the next level in 2018. If you're interested in that, go find out more about the Construction Business Accelerator program at constructionleadingedge.com/community. If you want to talk about one-on-one coaching and how that might look for you, go to constructionleadingedge.com/call. One last thing, if you just want to go to the next level from the podcast and you're a construction business owner, I've got a free series of videos available right now that will help you with some cash flow tips, some delegation tips, some personal productivity tips, and it'll also give you a taste of what's in the Construction Business Accelerator program. You can get your free videos over at constructionleadingedge.com/owner, OWNER. These are for construction business owners exclusively. And that, my friends, puts this podcast in the books. I hope you'll begin to think about right to left thinking. You'll start thinking in more of a right to left fashion. If you're a construction business owner, I hope you start thinking about selling as a way to help your future customers and your future employees, and don't think of it as being selfish. If you have any questions, hey, reach out to me. Check out my Facebook page. Just search Construction Leading Edge on Facebook. You'll find it. And as always, if this podcast helps you and you want to leave a review, that helps get the word out. You can find out how to leave a review on iTunes at constructionleadingedge.com/iTunes review. And again, this is Todd DeWalt from Construction Leading Edge. I appreciate you listening. I appreciate all the messages, the emails you guys send me. That really helps me out. And I will talk to you next time.